So right around the same time that we had the scientific method going on, we had people who were opposed to this. So one really visionary thinker at the time, her name was Mary Parker Foley, and she was, a really big critic of this approach because she said, you know what, you're taking the human out of the job. And moreover, you're treating them as machines themselves, because people who would go in to study the jobs and the job processes often just use their camera or use their observation to try and figure out how they can optimize the work. But they never actually asked the people doing the work themselves what they thought could be improved or if they had any ideas about how to do the work in a better way. And according to Mary, this was the number one step that workers should be taking. And in fact, if they were the ones doing the work, that they should be the ones making the decisions, not someone in a corner office that's very separate from the work itself. All right, so she was a real visionary before her time. She really advocated things that we see in practice nowadays, things like cross-functional teams, self-managed teams, right? So having the empowerment of the employees to make decisions about their work if they're the ones that are doing it. Perhaps not surprisingly, though, not a lot of people paid attention to her at that time. And people still said, you know what, the best way to go is to try and find the most efficient way of doing this work. We need to keep on going with the scientific management approach. And there was another interesting round of kind of experiments that were happening that tried to apply this idea of scientific management in the factory setting. So at the Hawthorne factories, what happened is they wanted to see the impact of different lighting conditions on productivity for the factory workers. So they had a lot of different experiments where they tried to show different lighting levels and to see which one was the optimum one that would get people working the hardest. But they found a really peculiar finding at the end of this, and they saw that no matter how high or how low they put the lights, the workers in every condition produced more and more and more. So they studied other factors besides lighting, so things like break times and break duration on productivity. And again, they found that in every condition that they tried, productivity continued to go up. And so eventually what they figured out is that it was the mere presence of the researchers themselves that actually caused the workers to kind of be more motivated and to produce a little bit more, right? They were happy that someone was finally paying attention to them, that they were actually interested in the work that they were doing and the outputs that they were doing. And that pride and that motivation was actually driving the productivity increases and not any of these arbitrary environmental things like the lighting or the breaks. All right, so this became known as the Hawthorne effect, and this, combined with some of the ideas of Foley and her colleagues, really was the cornerstone of the human relations movement and decades of organizational behavior research that followed after that.